It is a holistic thing. So their thinking is clearer and more directive and more joyful. Their emotions don't dominate them, and they're not something that drags them around, but rather they use for greater purposes.
Awesome.
And healing facilitates that. And in a beautiful way, I do believe God designed us. Healing is innate. Our brains are wired for this. This is not a just lofty ideal that few people reach. I think everybody has the capability to experience healing.
My name is Samuel Paul Bryant. I am the founder and owner of Witness to Love Family Counseling Services. I'm here with counselor Aaron Hartman. We're going to talk a little bit about his life as a counselor so far and kind of ask him to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a therapist here at Witness to Love, and a little bit about me. I guess it took me a minute, took me a little bit to figure out that counseling or therapy or things like that was something that God was leading me to. Took me 8 years to get my bachelor's degree.
Yes.
And so it was just a winding journey, but eventually it just fit. The pieces came together. I kind of just surrendered to the Lord, and it just became this awesome journey where I knew that God had gifted me with some stuff and some character traits and just these things
Yes.
that to help other people. And
Awesome.
so that's kind of the overview of my journey, but yeah.
In that part of your journey where the Lord was leading you to become a therapist, a counselor, was there any specific moments that really stood out for you?
Let's see. There was a teacher at my community college who taught a class where all the kids who failed other classes went there. So I failed some classes.
Yes.
And it was like a college success class. And she really took us under her wing. She was very caring, and she was a great teacher. And through her just taking through, career assessments and personality trait tests and just writing papers, she kind of helped mold this love for psychology and this love for helping people. And eventually one day she took me into her office and she kind of explained, like, she just really poured into me encouragement about who she sees I am and how I could be using that to help other people.
Beautiful.
And it was just this launching pad that was like, this is what I want to do. I'm going to go do that. So that was a huge moment for me. I'm very thankful for her.
Awesome. And where do you study for your counseling degree?
Yeah, so I'm still a student. I'll be graduating in May. I am at Divine Mercy University. It's based out of Virginia, but it's all online. And yeah, that's where I'm studying right now.
What led you to Divine Mercy University?
The Arizona's Board of Counseling, they have a list of approved programs.
Yes.
And so I'm going through that list because I want to make sure it's a good program and all that. And at the very, very bottom, they have Divine Mercy University. I was like, I'm going to check that out. And it turns out it's very Catholic.
Yes.
It's very professional. They're very, very good at what they do.
Awesome.
And a lot of their teachers are just quality educators of counselors, theologians, philosophers. Like, they just have a really good team out there.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. It is.
I want to go there.
Yeah.
Man.
So it was something that thankfully God led me there.
Yeah.
I called them, or I emailed them an interest email, and like a day later, their person called me. She got me in, she wrote me in, and I was there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's imagine I'm a client. I'm looking for a therapist, and I find you. What unique thing are you gonna present to me as a therapist?
Yeah. So in the world of therapy, there's a whole history of it, but there's people who are more of a top-down approach kind of therapist, meaning they look at the cognitions. They look at, what are you thinking? What's in your head?
Yes.
And then they go down from there. Like, how does that affect behavior? Other people are bottom-up approach. So they'll actually look at, what behaviors are you doing? Where do you notice that in your body? What are these things that are showing up for you in your life? Now tell me what you're thinking. What are you feeling? And so they're like a bottom up approach.
Yes.
And so I actually try to take the two and combine them.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
I try to almost meet in the middle, and I approach every facet of the human being and try to take them as a holistic person, every part of their life,
Awesome.
not just, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? What are their traumas? What's wrong with their body, or anything like that. I try to view the whole person
Awesome.
as a dignified whole.
Can you talk a little bit about what you understand the whole person is?
A whole person fundamentally is a creature created by God
Mm.
with a mind, body, and soul fused into this creature called a human being. And I
Yes.
see that, right? And so I try to address every area of that person's life. And if they don't take a religious view, if they're not someone who is fond of that, that's okay. It is language that we can share that still makes sense to them, and they feel like I'm hearing who they holistically are. And so
Yes.
that's kind of the viewpoint that I take.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So when you think whole person, you think mind, body, soul, spirit,
Absolutely.
right? The whole person integrated.
Yeah, that's what a human person is,
Awesome.
in my view. That's how I see it.
Beautiful. Is there a particular way in which you integrate your Catholic faith into how you practice?
Yeah, there's kind of the behind the scenes approach like that. Like, this is how I conceptualize who a person is.
Yes.
And first and foremost, every person therefore has dignity. They have worth. Because of the constitution of who they are automatically, valuable.
Awesome.
And so that's kind of running in the background of my head. And so I approach modalities. I try to pick certain ways of therapy that would help bring that out and bring them out to flourishing. In the forefront, I love to introduce, if a client, through our questionnaire or through our conversation, they realize, oh yeah, I want faith integration. Prayer is like my number one. I think
Yes.
prayer together is just a valuable, calling out to God to help bring healing, to help bring God into that therapy space. And a lot of the times that includes bibliotherapy, like books, like providing books that are, Catholic based on
Yes.
specific mental health topics. That's a huge one. And so that's kind of the gist of how I, integrate the Catholic faith.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Is there a particular modality of counseling that you use, or do you use a mixture of modalities?
I like to view them, yes, as a tool belt and pull them out when I can, with that understanding of the human person kind of being the blueprint. And then I kind of pick the tools in which I can help build them up. So EMDR is a big one for me.
Mhm.
I'm getting trained in it right now. I will be trained by the end of my graduation. And
You will be trained. You will be certified EMDR?
not certified. There's a different. Trained is, it's a rigorous process to be trained, but you are basically trained. You can conduct EMDR. Certification takes full licensure. It takes a lot more in-depth trainings, consultation hours. There's a lot more to it.
Okay.
A few people get there actually, but I plan on doing that. So, and the reason I do is because trauma is it's just something I care about.
Yes.
It's something I want to help walk people through. I'm
Awesome.
very passionate about that. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Mentioning trauma, give us an idea of how you understand trauma, if you could kind of define it.
Ooh, it's a great question.
Like, you can use an example if you like.
Yeah. I would say trauma is that which overloads someone's system. They can't comprehend what's happening, or their feelings just they're flooding, or, physical trauma, bodily sensations are overwhelming. These are things that you can say disrupt a person's processing,
Gotcha.
a person's ability to create just memories, a person's ability to think well about themselves. These are ways in which trauma affects a person.
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of how I view it.
And do you have a particular example of a traumatic experience that you've encountered with any client that would give people an example of
Yeah.
what is trauma.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, maintaining their confidentiality, but I have some clients who have experienced consistent and repeated sexual abuse
Yes.
from a family member.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that seems to be quite common with my clients and very devastating and
Got it.
incredibly, I mean, it just leaves a lasting mark on who they are
Yes.
in a lot of ways. What I try to do, though, is take that and to help it become redeemed so that it no longer becomes a weight or they're wearing a mask or something like that. I want the person to flourish
Yes.
in spite of what happened. And using that as like, this is a memory that I have now, but moving forward, I can grow, I can learn, I can love,
Yes.
I want to help that person get to that point.
Good. Before we kind of move into the last question, a question that's always on my mind as a therapist, and as I've developed as a therapist, I'm always questioning. And that question is, what is healing?
Yeah.
If you could talk a little bit about that from your perspective and what you've witnessed maybe in your own experience, healings you've had or healings you've seen in your clients, just to give us an idea of what you understand healing to be.
Absolutely. Ooh, man. Healing to me seems to be the way in which a person maybe going back to the holistic side. It is a holistic thing. So their thinking is clearer and more directive and more joyful. Their emotions don't dominate them. And they're
Yes.
not something that drags them around, but rather they use for greater purposes.
Awesome.
And healing facilitates that. And in a beautiful way, I do believe God designed us. Healing is innate. Our brains are wired for this. This is not a just lofty ideal that few people reach. I think everybody has the capability to experience healing. So that's kind of like a general overview of what I think it is.
Beautiful. That sounds amazing. Now, moving to the more light side. So we live in the valley here of the sun. A lot of people like to drive up to Flagstaff to get a break.
Yeah.
It's about a 2.5 hour drive.
Yeah.
If you
I'd
could
say
take a drive to Flagstaff and take anybody you want with you, who would you take with you on the drive?
All right. Honey, I love you. My wife, I would love to take you, but I'm going to choose someone who's not alive. I'll pick someone who's from history. I think I would pick, I love St. Augustine.
Awesome.
He's written so much, and he's a brilliant man, but I just feel like he's real, and it would be a fascinating, authentic conversation about humanity, God, love, sin, just
Everything.
all the topics.
Yeah,
In 2.5 hours. I think it'd be great.
I'd have to ask him about his story, The Hound of Heaven, because I've had experiences of The Hound of Heaven.
Yeah.
I'd love to be in that car with you guys and say, hey, St. Augustine, tell us about the Hound of Heaven. How did you experience him? You know what I mean?
It'd be so rich.
It'd
would
be amazing.
So rich, yeah.
It'd be beautiful. Yeah. So anyway, I think that's the end of our interview today.
Awesome.
We look forward to visiting you again when we interview our next therapist. God bless you. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Sam.